What's up, Planeswalkers? Theorix6 back with some more Magic the Gathering Arena. And today it's time for some... That's not Saprolinks. Apparently, today it's time for some sweet blue-black Tezzeret as Arena decides to load slowly. What? I'm keeping this in. This is funny. What? There we go. I could cut that, but I'm keeping it because it's funny. Anyway, I was finally able to make the blue-black Tezzeret deck. It's not ideal, just because, well, you know, the deck actually requires a lot more mythics and rares than I expected at first, but it's good enough, right? I've been playing it on the ladder, and I've been doing relatively well with it. Anyway, so let's just get into the deck. We're playing one Merchant Dockhand. This probably should be two. The card's not nearly as good against aggro as it is against control. Essentially, against control, you're able to get anything that you need in order to answer whatever control is doing. It also is like it's a threat that your opponent is not going to want to remove because like it doesn't do anything by itself. But I mean, late game, you just tap a bunch of artifacts. The reason I only think two is fine is because as I said, against aggro, this card's like too slow. It's like a 1-mana blocker. We're running 3 Fatal Push because aggro sucks and we need a way to kill them easily. I decided to run exactly one Navigator's Compass because I like the life gain, but like I don't want to see this card in any matchup except heavy aggro. And even then, essentially, it's a pseudo land because of the fact that you're able to use it for Improvise, but otherwise it's just a 1-mana gain 3 life. You can sacrifice it to some cards later, but other than that, it's just that. Running 4 Renegade Maps, it is a 1-mana artifact, which is fantastic for our needs. Also, it can get us more mana. Having this deck only runs very few lands. It runs 21. And if you have like 2 of these in your opening hand, then you can keep a 1-lander really easily. Just like the amount of mana that this deck needs is actually relatively low. Running 2 Cogworkers Puzzleknot. We have no white sources inherently, but we have plenty of ways to make white. And essentially, this is just a great way to get 2 tokens immediately. You can get another 1/1 if, for whatever reason, you're going up against control and you need to like have a really slow clock. But in general, this is just a 2-mana card that gives you 2 artifacts for Improvise. Prophetic Prism is a cycle artifact. It acts as a pseudo-land for Improvise, as I said. It draws you cards, and it fixes your mana if you need it. The mana in this deck is not very intensive, just because of the fact that most of the things in this deck are generic. 2 Servo Schematics. These are the prime real estate. Similar to Cogworker's Puzzleknot, this comes in, gives you another body immediately, so this is a 2 artifact for 1 card scenario. And using a card that we'll see later, you can sacrifice this to get even more value. This is like the prime card. 2 treasure maps, you know, scry your draw. You can actually, hilariously, even though you only run 21 lands, you can run into flooding relatively easily. So being able to have scry that gives you treasures, which you can use to improvise, is pretty good. 3 Metallic Rebukes. This card is good. I was testing it at 4 for a while, and at 4 it just clogged my hand up too much. Because this is a relatively proactive deck, right? You want to get as many artifacts out as possible, and then land one of your bombs and take the game away. Early on, playing Metallic Rebuke doesn't happen very frequently because we're usually tapping out a bit for our artifacts. And late game, the paying 3 isn't too much of an issue. This is right in the sweet spot of like early to mid game, but it is amazing when you can just tap 2 artifacts and land. Especially when you can do something like on turn 3, right? You play a Cogworker's Puzzleknot. It gives you 2 artifacts to tap, and you have a land left open. So, yeah, it's still decent. Running 1 Antiquities War. I see a lot of lists run 1. I see some lists run 2, and I see a few lists run 3. I think 2 is probably where you should be, but I'm not going to make another one. Essentially, Antiquities War is one of your win conditions. You're able to find some cards that you need, only artifacts, sadly. But then all of your artifacts become 5/5s, and you can usually just murder someone as soon as that happens. Running 2 Tezzerets. Tezzeret is another win condition. One of his best modes in all matchups is the -2, and the fact that you can -2/-2, and he'll still be alive as long as he hasn't died, is pretty fantastic. His +1 isn't great because it doesn't actually like protect himself, but it does help you 1, get another artifact for Improvise, 2, give you another artifact to sack, and 3, kind of pseudo ramp you depending on what needs you have. I'm running 2. I mean, the emblem obviously is essentially another Antiquities War. So, I'm running 2. 3 is probably fine. I definitely wouldn't go to 4. I only run 1 Karn because I only have 1 Karn, and as you can see, I have no other mythics. Karn is great, especially since his -2 they'll usually be incredibly large. And you know, his +1 and -1 are great card advantage engines in a deck where your cards are inherently lower power level than what your opponent is probably playing. So he can snowball out of control. Personally, I like more specific Planeswalkers, so I went with Tezzeret first. But many of you probably already have some Karns. Karns, I would say, probably you want three of them. Any more than 3, then you get them clogged in your hand too frequently. 2 is fine if you don't have them. But yeah, 3 I think is the sweet spot. Because you're like never sad to see Karn. And with Karn, you can just like -2, -2, +1, -2, right? And then use the second one. We have a single Zahid, Djinn of the Lamp, and I was really skeptical about this card when I started seeing it in lists, but it's real good. Being able to just play this on turn 4, potentially sooner, I don't exactly know, but being able to just play a 5/6 flyer on turn 2 that like fights and wins against Lyra, that wins against like Tezzeret, right? This card is a great block against aggro and mid-range, and it's a fantastic clock against control. This card has actually like overperformed my expectations, and it was great that I opened one of these, so I didn't have to craft it. Herald of Anguish is a beast so regardless, it has Improvise. So this, you will often cast 2 or 3 for this card. Like, that is not difficult to do. It's a flying 5/5, pretty great. It's great against control because at the beginning of your end step, they discard, so they're losing card advantage. It's great against aggro because you can sack one of your artifacts that you don't need on the board in order to give a creature -2/-2. And you can do this as much as you have mana and artifacts for. So something like Servo Schematic will give you 3 total artifacts to sacrifice to this. So if you have 6 mana, you can give a creature -6/-6. This comes in, you have 2 dudes, you sack this, you have a second guy. Well, you have 2 artifacts. You sack this, you have a second guy, right? So you have 2 1/1s that are created just from this. You sack those 2. That's a total of -6/-6. It is fantastic. This card is actually one of your games. This is the card that you're going to want to try and get to through all your card draw and card filtering and all that. If you don't have this card, I legit don't know what its replacement is. I 1000% only had 1 of them, and I crafted 3 because that's how good they were. I crafted, I think, 1 or 2, and then in my initial testing, it was like good enough that I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and play this. For Walking Ballista, because Ballista is utterly insane. This is reach if you need it. This is good against control because you can just end of their turn, make it bigger, and it's good against aggro because you can pig down their guys. It's fantastic. 2, Battle of the Bridge. This could probably be 3 in a meta with more aggro. It's great that it's a -- because you can kill indestructible gods like Tezzeret, and the indomitable guy, Snackman. Ronus, that's his name. And has Improvise, so you're able to tap up on your artifacts, and you can easily get this to be 5 cost if you only have like a single swamp out, which is fantastic. And the fact that it gains you life obviously is wonderful. Then we're running a trash mana base because that's how this game is. The rare duels are really hard to do, but yeah, it's whatever. Luckily, because there's so little mana cost color requirement in this deck, it actually is not that big of a deal at all. Obviously, if you have Drawing Catacombs and Fetid Pools, you're going to want to play essentially as many as you can. Fetid Pools maybe only run 3 instead of 4. But you know, we're running 3 islands, 7 swamps. We do have more black requirements than blue. 3 Submerged Boneyard. I probably could even cut these and just do islands and swamps. It hasn't been a problem yet, but it could be. So yeah, that's something you might want to think about. 2 Aether Hubs, not necessary. Again, this is like most of the time, it's going to be fine just being a colorless land. Sometimes we will need to pay using the energy, and we don't have any other ways to gain energy, but as I said, it's not been a problem. Just the amount of color requirements we need is so low. One Inventor's Fair. This card is here to gain life, and that's pretty much it. You'll almost never search with this card because of how high the search cost is and how low impact the majority of artifacts we have are. What I've found is the only time I've ever thought about searching with this is you have 7 mana and your opponent's at 1. So you pay 5, essentially it's 4 and tap this, to search for a Walking Ballista, and then play Ballista for 2, and then ping them for the last point of damage. Other than that, you're essentially just going to be gaining 1 life a turn. Pretty early and pretty easy against the aggro decks. That's about it. Spire of Industry, it's painful, but it gets you where you need to go, and luckily, we have all of these from Wizards just giving them to us. And of course, one Zhalfirin Void. Honestly, you could probably take out like the Submerged Boneyards for more Zhalfirin Voids, and you'd be fine. The Scry is super helpful, and as I said, you don't need a lot of color requirement. So that's the deck. I don't actually have a sideboard. That's just other cards that I thought about putting in. Yeah, I mean, if you want to make any adjustments, let me know what types of cards you're missing, and I will try to give you my best guess on what card is good to replace. Good as a replacement, I should say. Let's hop into the games after my 10-minute rambly DeckTech going up against Weastwell? I don't know. Let me know if you guys want me to add this to the rotation. It's been a very fun deck. But, you know, not everyone likes to see so much blue-black. I've realized I have a lot of decks that have blue and black in them. Got Muldrotha Bolas, this, technically the blue-black zombie deck, although I just play mono-black, but, you know, to be fair, zombies is mono-black, and then I have, all of my decks are black. Black mana rules, everyone. Black mana rules. Alright, let's see what our opponent is going to do. They're taking a while to mulligan, so looks like they have a harsh decision either way, which potentially bodes well for us, or they stepped away from their computer right as the game was about to start, so. Alright, they did decide to mulligan. So this is actually a fantastic hand, right? We have 2 lands, which is about all we want. We have an early game interaction with Fatal Push. Renegade Map if we need more lands, but this is probably just going to stay on the field. Against aggro, this is pretty fine. Can draw a card, can get some guys. This is pretty good. Against control, this is going to be the one you prioritize because it does put a small clock on the board. Against aggro, you're probably just going to want to draw cards to get into more value. And the reason I say that, and you might be like, what? That's crazy. Why not just play the Servo Schematic to get blockers? The reason is they have so many ways to make it so your creatures can't block, and Goblin Chain Whirler just is probably going to kill your guy. So you're going to want to dig for something that can actually handle whatever they're playing. So it looks like they're on red-black aggro. They could be on red-black control. Not sure. That's not going to live. This does imply it's a more mid-range or late-game deck. I will go ahead and play Spire of Industry, because it shouldn't matter. Go ahead and kill this now. I could have waited, but I deigned not to. And we'll go ahead and play Navigator's Compass. So next turn, we still have a land. If the thing about this, right, is on our 4th turn, if we don't have a land to play Karn, we can just sack this on our 4th turn. On our 4th turn, because it puts us in the hand, not on the battlefield tap. So, you know, turn 3 we play this. We play this probably. If nothing, then sure, whatever. Heart of Karn, that is fine. Oh, another thing that I forgot to mention about this is it can turn something like Zhalfirin Void into a swamp or a island, so you can get the mana you need. And we got an island, so we're not going to need to crack anything with Karn. I think I'm going to want a Prophetic Prism here. And actually, since that can do that thing, then I'm just going to do this anyway. I would love to see another Fatal Push to be able to get rid of that Heart of Karn. That is not Fatal Push. Do I need to do anything right now? No, I do not. So I am good to end turn. So as I said, right, like we're only running 21 lands, and we have 5 mana, and this is like way more than we need. Unfortunately, Karn is probably going to be giving us a lot of lands. Alright. Pianalar, sure. So they're going to be able to crew Heart of Kiran here. Yep, tap in both of those. Attack me for 4. That is one thing that is a little bit of annoying with this deck, because all of these have like activations. You're going to be clicking this button a lot. Unless you hit end turn a lot. Which, I mean, I guess I could do, right? There's nothing I need to do at the end of the turn? Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that, make it a little bit easier. What's my opponent thinking about? Huh? Well, that's strange. Anyway, it's possible that you should run more treasure maps in order to get more scry. Ooh, that's good. I can kill things with that. Like, playing Karn here isn't super great. I do get a 3/3, but then it just dies here. I could theoretically plus Karn, or I can just play this for 2, kill this, make it less easy for them to scry, or not scry, to crew. No, I think we're gonna put Karn in.
Let us begin.
Try and start getting food value. It's possibly wrong. It's possibly I should have just plussed. Oh darn! They're gonna give me the swamp. Well, if he lives, which it's not a guarantee that he will. If he lives, then I will be able to just -1 and get the Fatal Push to deal with the Heart of Kiran. But let's see what happens. If my opponent has like any burn, he's like dead. Oh, okay, that's bad. Yeah, Karn's dead. Have I mentioned how much I hate this card? Because it hits Planeswalkers too? This card is garbage. Yeah, well, Karn's dead. And I'll take 2. Ugh. Do I need to do this end of turn to thin my deck? I don't think so. We're not allowed to have fun on the ladder, everyone.
There are greater battles.
You're only allowed to play red-based aggro, or I guess I'll play this and this. I said that and this. Thank you. You're only allowed to play red-based aggro, blue-white approach, or something that counters either of those decks. Not allowed to play anything else. So I mean, as you can see at this point, right? All we need is one of our big payoff cards. Be it Antiquities War, be it Tezzeret. Sure, that's fine. But especially what we want is Big Daddy Herald of Anguish. Jeez. Red-black vehicles, so fun. And I think what makes it worse is like they just gave people the cards for like I understand that they wanted people to be able to play with like the top decks, but they gave no love to like the counter decks. Not the decks that play counter spells, the decks that counter the strategy. I mean, I don't want to die, so I'm going to block that. I'm going to take 7, and I'm going to go to 9. It's going to be awful. So the reason I kind of had to block there is because like I don't want to die to 2 lightning strikes. I don't know if the deck plays lightning strike, but if I go down to 6, then I might find out in a poor manner. Next turn I'll have, if nothing else, Ballista for 3. Which doesn't help a bunch, but essentially I could like block Scrap Heap and then kill Chain Whirler down to 9, so I'd be taking 7 damage? Jeez. So I'd be down to 2 and die to shock. Yeah, I mean, we essentially like need Herald of Anguish here. Tezzeret is fine, but Tezzeret essentially just gets rid of... No, Tezzeret wouldn't do it. Because I'd be able to minus the Chain Whirler. Yeah, I'd be able to minus the Chain Whirler and still die on board. Would Zahid help? No. Well, Zahid I would pay 4, and I could Ballista for 1. So I think Zahid would help, right? Because I tap a thing. Zahid can block Heart. Ballista can block a 3 power guy, and then kill the 1 power guy. So it would take, like at max 5, and then I'd be down to 4. Okay, so essentially we're looking for Zahid or Herald of Anguish. I'm fairly certain anything less than that is going to be my death. My opponent has something, and they probably are just like not realizing that they're meant to pass or something, or they're just being mean. That's a possibility. Good old BM from the red-black player. I mean, the deck is fun. My deck is fun. Their deck is garbage. The deck is fun to play. No. Oh, so I need to put a stop up here. Actually, I'm gonna do that because I need to scry again. Not using that. Use this. Scry. Like, I have to scry before I draw to make sure I get something. I maximize my chances of getting something impactful. It lowers my Ballista's power, but I'm pretty sure Ballista alone doesn't do it here. Does Tezzeret though? Tezzeret costs 4. I mean, that's my whole turn. I can straight up kill a Chain Whirler, and I don't gain life for that, right? No, it just kills a thing. I can straight up kill Chain Whirler, and then I just die on board. So I have to put this on the bottom because it does not win me the game. Go and take off full control now. Why are you roping? Your mate, like I saw the professor from Tolarian Community College tweet out recently that he thinks like the timer should be like more aggressive. Like this is bad. This is very, very bad. Why am I being roped here? Damn. Yeah, I mean, we can't win with what we have. Darn. He said that the timer should be like more. Did I really drop all the way? Why? I talked about this last time. I was way over here. Why did I drop all the way down? Unless that's a visual glitch. That's lame. Anyway, being like more strict and stuff, but like they have to find a balance between punishing players who are purposefully roping, not players who are like, you know, I'm going to get Siri, not players who are, you know, accidentally roping, but players who are actively like BMing, and people who need more time, right? Like there are plenty of times where I have a bunch of stuff going on. This is a good hand. No, this isn't a good hand. This is a great hand. Yeah. Yeah. And like a mad lad, I'm gonna start with this. Let's keep it on top, boys. There's plenty of times where I need more time to do actual game actions. The timer should restrict only. Do I want treasure map or do I want Servo out? It's against white. Let's servo up. Safety restrictions and all that nonsense. Okay. The timer needs to only be a detriment to ropers and a boon to people who need more time. Right? As of right now, in combat specifically, it does not give you enough time. The timer like just does not give people enough time to make sure that they can think through all of their blocks properly. Sure. Oh, Ballista. Looking treasure map. End of turn, I'll get a swamp with this. Sure. Well, I'm gonna scry first to see if there's a swamp on top. Is that true? Do I need that? This like be 3. Nah. But I mean, look how early this is gonna come down. It's gonna come down on turn 4, which is fantastic. They're either playing white-green cats or just white-green tokens in general. We'll find out which. This is going to be on the longer side because the DeckTech. I was maybe a little bit too talky on the DeckTech. I just like going through what cards do, you know. I also like rambling and digressing a lot. But hey, apparently people like the fact that I'm a weirdo who rambles. I mean, I'm just gonna get a swamp. So, actually, you know what? I'm gonna tap this for mana. Because I can use that for my treasure map. I technically get free mana. I'm not probably not gonna do anything with it, but that was a really weird play. Maybe my opponent needed mana fixing as well. That was a very strange play to me. Do I want a second Herald of Anguish? Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is on my upkeep. Well, no, just like before I actually like do anything on my main phase, I'm gonna get a swamp here. No blocks. I need this to improvise. So I'm gonna have to pay 4 mana to do it, because I lost an artifact. Yeah. Tap, tap, tap. There we go. Now I have a 5/5. I have a great blocker. You have to start discarding cards. Although to be fair, they probably have a decent number of embalm cards. But, see if I care, I have a 5/5 on turn 4. I'm going to murder you. I can play another one next turn, so they start discarding 2 cards a turn. Oh, it's so good. Ixalan's Binding is the worst here. I have no way to deal with that. But I'm just going to try and murder my opponent. It looks like they didn't have a 4th land. It looks like they didn't have a 4th land. I mean, if they attack me with the cat, I'm just taking it. They probably could have attacked with the cat. I don't think I am able to do both. Because this would be 4... No, I wouldn't. Because this is only lower by 1. Yeah. So I'm just going to cast this. And they only have 1 mana up. So it's not like they can seal away. So, die? They can seal away on their turn, but they can't seal away now, so I'm going to get through for 5 damage. And they're going to discard 2 cards during their turn? Like, this is a brutalization. They're both the same trigger. Who cares? Let's see what they discard. Whatley? 4-drop, makes sense. Am I saying Quatley wrong? Is it like Otley? No, that's too like French. Quatley's probably right. Quetzalcoatl? I don't know. Tetzimoc. I like Ixalan's theme. I just barely caught the sneeze. And a note of precision. Yeah, I mean this is not looking great for my opponent. Cycle the cast out because they don't have the 4th mana to play it. Interesting. I mean that's a desperation move, but I think they had to probably go for it. They did get the 4th land. Very good. Don't have great attacks. Yeah. Flashbacks, not flashbacks, embalms. Didn't embalm. That's very interesting. That's interesting indeed. I'm gonna play this Prism. Of course, it taps my blue source for some reason. Because I would like to see. So I didn't get it. I was gonna say I'd like to see a Metallic Rebuke. I could have scried. Yeah, I'll do it now. I don't need advantage there. Like, it's very obvious my opponent has some sort of answer. So I have no reason to attack. Like, if it's a cast out, that's kind of bad. But, like, attacking here into an obvious response is dumb when I can just end the turn. I want to see 2 Sealaways go to that graveyard. Settle the wreckage. Cool. And this is why I didn't attack. I had no reason to. Like, because of the fact that they could have played Anointed Priest there, I had 100% reason to believe that it had some sort of trick. Yeah, so now I know that they have no mana for a trick, so I can just attack them. They're gonna gain some life. I don't care. Yeah, 1, sure. Not even close to caring. So now I'm going to... What? Stop the dancing cards. Hashtag stop the dancing cards 2018. Gutex. Let's play Zahid, shall we? Going to tap this. They have to discard their card. And I'm in a fantastic position. If anything threatens me, I can -2/-2 it. They drew something they couldn't play. Possibly another Regal. This, as I said, this card is bonkers. And what? Maybe it just like it's like a weird yo-yo. It like goes all. It shows going all the way back. I think maybe it is just a graphical glitch. Yeah, I'm going with that. But yeah, like all the progress you see was essentially all this deck since yesterday. It was me testing because I try and play at least a few games. But yeah, of course we reset today because it's Sunday. But that was the deck. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know if you want me to add it to the rotation. If I add it to the rotation, it'll come after tokens. So the next video will be tokens. And I'm going to skip the second Tezzeret. Well, unless you guys want me to do the second Tezzeret before I restart the thing. I don't know. I'll think about it. Yeah, whatever. Let me know if you guys want me to add it. Let me know if you liked the video. Go ahead and tap that like button if you did. Add a subscription to your mana pool and cast a comment to the comment sections down below. And until next time, all will be one.